Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Authorities are now looking into whether Stephen Paddock had help carrying out his deadly massacre and are turning to his girlfriend for insight. I'm Mola Lengi with the latest on the investigation from Las Vegas.
A Penn State student found unconscious and hospitalized prompts the university to take action against a fraternity. I'm Seth Lemon in Washington with the latest coming up.
Good morning and welcome to your Thursday. Current time 6:31. Investigators in Las Vegas are looking into the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. They're hoping that the shooter's girlfriend can offer up some hints as to why he did it.
Some in law enforcement remain convinced the 64-year-old Stephen Paddock didn't act alone. CBS's Mola Lengi is in Las Vegas with the latest.
Investigators in Las Vegas continue to comb through the life and hotel room of gunman Stephen Paddock, trying to figure out why he carried out Sunday's massacre.
We don't have any immediately accessible thumbprints that would indicate the shooter's ideology or motivation.
President Trump visited the city Wednesday to meet with survivors and first responders as authorities provided fresh insight into the fateful night. They say there's evidence Paddock planned to escape rather than killing himself as officers closed in. Officials add none of the cameras Paddock brought to his room for surveillance were recording. Clark County Sheriff Joseph Lombardo says it's hard to imagine one man alone could stockpile so much weaponry.
You got to make the assumption he had to have some help at some point.
Investigators are now hoping Paddock's girlfriend can yield some answers. She voluntarily flew back to the U.S. from the Philippines Tuesday night and met with the FBI for hours of questioning. Just before the shooting, Paddock sent Mary Lou Danley to her native country to visit family. He also wired her money. Through her lawyer, Danley insisted she thought this was Paddock's way of preparing her for a breakup.
It never occurred to me in any way whatsoever that he was planning violence against anyone.
Law enforcement says Paddock stockpiled 47 guns since 1982 and bought 33 of them over the past year alone. Mola Lengi, CBS News, Las Vegas.
Now, investigators say the weekend before the shooting, Paddock had rented a high-rise condo in a building that overlooked a different music festival, though they wouldn't speculate as to why.
Scary stuff. New details every day.
Absolutely true. New details this morning, Matt. It sounds like fog is rolling in. You had the iCam from the airport earlier.
Yeah, we'll show that again. Visibility, our biggest issue for the morning, for especially areas east of the Divide. We have about a half-mile visibility in Bozeman. Most areas are doing fine, but be aware those low-lying areas are likely to pick up some fog with some of the moisture we've had, clearing skies, cooler temperatures. Perfect recipe to see a little fog in the area. Temperatures holding into the 30s this morning. Our skies are trying to clear, but we do have the potential, there's that fog as we're starting things out. We do have the potential of a couple of showers in a few areas, but most of us are going to stay dry for most of the day. Our temperatures today trying to warm up. We will, of course, talk more about your complete 7-day forecast, including a look at the weekend. That's coming up in a few minutes.
Thanks, Matt. Now 6:33 on this Thursday. Penn State University has placed a fraternity on interim suspension as it looks into how a student ended up in the hospital. CBS's Seth Lemon has more from Washington.
Penn State is investigating a fraternity after a student was found unconscious and hospitalized. The 18-year-old was suspected of drinking when police found him last week passed out off campus about 1.5 miles from the Delta Tau Delta house.
It's a common thing in college campuses, whether it be Greek life. If you're talking about drinking, there's a lot of drinking on college campuses in this country.
The university has now suspended Delta Tau Delta on an interim basis, pending an investigation by the Office of Student Conduct. All Penn State fraternities are currently under a social ban after Timothy Piazza died in February from a fall during an alcohol hazing ritual. In a statement, the Piazza family said, "This serious situation is an important test of the resolve of Penn State to enforce their commitment to new regulations and policies."
I've only been here for a year, but I feel like Greek life has changed significantly since past events.
A university spokesperson says the school is also looking into who provided the 18-year-old with alcohol. That student was hospitalized and is said to be recovering. Seth Lemon for CBS News.
In other news this morning, MSU is investigating the report of a robbery. The victim reported that at about 11:30 Tuesday night, he was walking on the sidewalk near South 12th Street lot in the Animal Bioscience building when he was attacked. The suspect punched the victim in the face and stole his backpack. The suspect is described as a college-aged white male, approximately 6'6", 175 pounds, with long blonde hair reaching down to about the middle of his back. The victim stated that he punched the suspect back, and the suspect may have a facial injury. If anyone has information related to this incident or any other suspicious activity on campus, please contact the MSU Police Department at 994-2121.
In other headlines this morning, the state's budget crisis was front and center before a key legislative committee yesterday. Most of those who testified, including the governor's budget director, say lawmakers need to do something besides just cut spending to balance the budget. The state must fill a $227 million budget hole brought on by a tax revenue shortage and huge firefighting costs this summer. Democratic Governor Steve Bullock has authority to solve the problem by cutting budgets up to 10% in most state agencies. But in testimony yesterday, scores of citizens said the 10% cuts would severely harm human services and the social safety net that many people rely on. Governor Bullock's budget director, Dan Vila, told the Legislative Finance Committee that prior to legislature has used a combination of spending cuts and taxes to fill budget holes. He says the current legislature needs to consider a budget solution with both of those elements. Others were more blunt, like Bonnie Kelly of Missoula, who said she relies on personal assistant care from the state to live her life. She said lawmakers should meet in special session to raise revenue to help cover the budget shortfall.
The proposals that I put forward complied with the law, but they are horrendous options. They are awful. I think that we owe it to ourselves and to Montanans to have a conversation about what a permanent fix looks like, because I would venture to guess that there is not a single person sitting around this table today that is supportive of the entire 9.571% reduction. There is a better way, and I think we are on the right track to figuring it out.
For the legislatures, all of you guys, to come together for a special session and come up with a balanced budget that works for all Montanans. A budget that is not solely based on cuts, but also revenues.
Now we're told the committee is expected to make recommendations today on how the governor and the state should proceed to try to solve the budget shortfall.
And in Butte, the rescue mission isn't any closer to finding a new location for its homeless shelter nearly 6 months after it was shut down. The mission had to close its facility on East 2nd Street in April due to fire code violations, and has difficulty throughout the summer finding a new location. The mission has a mobile shelter unit in North Dakota that is prepared to bring it to Butte once they find available land.
Help us identify a 4-acre parcel of property, you know, somewhere in Butte, you know, in town or on the outskirts where we can hook up to city services.
Mission officials say they are desperate to get a facility in place with those cold temperatures setting in.
The Department of Environmental Quality has announced 3 public meetings to discuss the BlackVue Copper Mine near Wildfire Springs. Meetings will be used to learn more about the environmental impacts the mine may have on the Smith River and surrounding areas. First meeting scheduled to be held in Great Falls on October 30th from 6 to 9 at the Civic Center. Second meeting will be in Wildfire Springs on November 1st at the high school, that also from 6 to 9. The last meeting will be held on November 7th in Livingston at the high school, again from 7 to 9. For more information on the BlackVue Copper Mine, you can visit us online.
I'm so happy we don't have to talk about containment for wildfires as donations continue to roll in for our Montana Wildfire Relief Fund. Our totals for Wednesday, we received 25 donations yesterday, over $9,000 there. Our grand total now stands at 1,175 donations, totaling $316,000. And $39, excuse me, and 74 cents. The Wildfire Relief Fund is a partnership between the Montana Television Network and the Montana Community Foundation. There's still an active $50,000 match, and you can contribute if you haven't done so already. We have those donations doubled with this recent match. Head on over to our websites, KBZK or KXLF.com/Wildfire Relief Fund.
So keep it coming in.
Keep it coming in. Get it matched and matched and matched. I love it. Maybe another match will come in.
Who knows?
You never even know.
There you go.
Stay with us. Coming up right here on your Thursday edition of Montana This Morning, reporter Morgan Davies sits down with a local survivor from the deadly massacre in that Las Vegas shooting on Sunday.
We'll have that after the break, but first let's check in with Charlie Rose for a look at what's coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, we're in Las Vegas with an emotional reunion. The festival bartender who refused to leave a stranger's side. He kept her conscious after she was shot in the stomach. And Bob Schieffer joins us, his new book on how changes in the media affect how and what we consume as news. See you at 7.